Once again, beautiful Wednesday morning here in the FCT. 35 minutes, 17 seconds pass. And it's time for us to take a look at what the dailies are saying this lovely Wednesday morning. Before we get to that, happy Salah once again. Weekend, midweek, and public holiday. No weekend. Weekend is fine. It's far off as well. But it's a public holiday. And happy Children's Day as well. May 27, Children's Day and Salah Day being celebrated on the same day. Right now, let's get to the papers, starting off with the Daily News Craft. Bold headline here: Eid el-Kabir, high cost of livestock. Fear of insecurity may affect celebration. Muslims complain of exorbitant prices of rams. Foodstuff. Military warn of possible isolated attacks. Governor Abba approves 20,000 naira bonus for Kano workers. That's on page 2 of the Daily News Craft. 2027, supporters jubilate as court gives Jonathan nod to contest election. It's victory for democracy, rule of law. That's coming from the PDP on page 3. Xenophobic attacks, many Nigerians reject homes, say it's worse than SA. That's talking about South Africa. That's coming from Peter Obi on page 7 of the Daily News Craft. Fubara denies brother over Rivers governorship election. Page 11. Stable electricity. Nigeria loses $717.7 million World Bank funding. Page 9. ADC presidential primary. Amechi Hayatuddin rejects results as Atiku wins. Page 3. 33 billion naira fraud. EFCC transfers ex-power minister Maman to correctional center on page 3. Above the nameplate of the Daily News Craft, Hajj, Nakan pledges reforms as Zulum approves 1,725 Hadaya for pilgrims. Starts on the front page, continues on page 2. Now to the blueprint. Tinubu at Eid el-Kabir. Walk through the dark tunnel over. Light is here. Akpabio, Barral, Gilwata, Alafin, NOA, others task citizens on peace sacrifice. FG approves 50% discount on train services nationwide. Starts on the front page, continues on page 6 of the blueprint. INEC has power to fix election timetables. Court affirms. Starts on the front page, continues on page 8. Results of ADC presidential primaries concocted. That's coming from Amechi and Hayatuddin. Sunday Honor declared PDP candidates as court clears Jonathan. Starts on the front page and continues on page 14. Terrorism. Court reserves judgment in Owo Church massacre trial. Page 18. Oil could stay above $100 for years. Analysts warn. Page 22. Pantami emerges Gombe PDP governorship flag bearer amid protests. Page 16. Troops neutralize 317 terrorists, rescue 221 victims in May. That's coming from the DHQ on page 7. Information officers critical in combating misinformation. That's coming from the Minister of Information, Idris, on page 6. A bit of business here. Rising tariff gaps. Naira crisis stall Nigeria's $717.7 million World Bank power deal. Page 24. And 27 die of cholera in Borno. 2,715 cases recorded. Page 15. And that is absolutely a huge number and should be a sort of concern for the Borno state government there as well. Now, moving away from the blueprint, we have the Daily Sun. Court ruling on eligibility, presidency, APC mock Jonathan, PDP divided. Judge dismisses suit, awards 21 million naira fine against lawyer. Godluck support groups hail judgment. Page 6. NDC built on strong democratic structures, not personalities. That's coming from Serake Dixon. Obi asks aspirants to accept outcome of primaries. Page 27. Kidnapping. CDS orders deployment of special air surveillance to Oyo. Page 4. How Tinubu's dialogue strategy resolved Ogoni Malabu Oil, MM2 disputes. That's coming from the presidency on page 27. Eid al-Adha, Tinubu calls for sacrifice, unity, hails reforms. Governors Kalu, Olubadan, others urge prayers for peace, patience. That's on page 28. And court restores INEC's power to issue election timetable, activities schedule. Starts on the front page, continues on page 6. And later on, I'm going to take a little bit of a read from that one. The Leadership newspaper, ADC presidential primaries, Amechi Hayatuddin reject results as Atiku leads, page 7. Angwan Rukuba killings, court grants accused leave to call witnesses, page 17. 500 horses lined up as Ilorin Durbar holds tomorrow, page 18. Pantami defects to PDP, clinches governorship ticket, page 8. Court contradicts earlier judgment, affirms INEC to issue election guidelines, page 16. Oyo school attacks, 8 suspects nabbed as NUT orders strike, page 22. Court clears Jonathan to contest 2027 presidency, page 8. And Salah, police assure Benue Plateau Nasarawa residents of adequate security, page 18. To the Standard Times, Eid al-Kabir, Nigeria's dark moments over. That's coming from the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Starts on the front page, continues on page 3. Edo, Okpeolo assures investors of enabling environment as FG inaugurates CNG center. That's on page 3. Court reserves judgment in Owo terror attack case as DSS seeks capital punishment, page 3. Gombe 2027, Pantami clinches PDP governorship ticket after APC primary fallout, page 3. Okomu Oil records 172.6 billion naira revenue from palm products in 2025, page 2. Court reserves ruling on final forfeiture of Malami's 57 properties, page 3. INEC warns journalists against fake news, premature results ahead of Ekiti poll, page 2. Aviation sector contracts 47% in quarter 1, 2026. That's from the MBS on page 2. Nationwide, military kills 317 terrorists, rescues 221 civilians, destroys arms factories in 1 month, page 3. And that's the front page of the Standard Times. We also have the Nigerian News Direct 2027. Court affirms Jonathan's eligibility to run for president, page 16. Our reforms have yielded improvements, improved security, greater opportunities. That's coming from the president on page 13. Eid al-Kabir, FG approves 50% rail discount for travelers. Crisis rocks ADC presidential primaries as Amechi Hayatuddin rejects results over alleged rigging, page 12. Now to the Daily Independent, which is our final paper for today. Pests, climate, insecurity, fuel soaring tomato, pepper prices. Starts on the front page and continues on page 29. 2027, Wike's PDP unveils honor as presidential candidate. Pantami defects to PDP, clinches Guba ticket, page 29. 2027, alleged imposition of aspirants tears Zamfara APC apart. Shinkafi heads to court over primaries, page 7. Terrorists, bandits will face ultimate defeat, Tinubu assures. Starts on the front page, continues on page 28. Tech Fund partners Nigerian Army to boost education, security, tech, page 7. Court orders INEC to align timetable with Electoral Act, rules Jonathan eligible to contest presidential poll, and PDP, hails judgment clearing former president. Starts on the front page and continues on page 6 of the Daily Independent, and that's our final paper for the morning. We take a look at the Daily Independent, Nigeria News Direct, Standard Times, Leadership newspaper, the Daily Sun, Blueprints, Daily Newscraft as well. All right, now looking at court proceedings, starting off with the Daily Sun, let's just take a little read from this story. Court restores INEC's power to issue election timetable activities schedule. So, a federal high court in Abuja has affirmed the powers of the Independent National Electoral Commission to issue timetable for elections and alter it as it deems fit. The decision, coming from a court of cognate jurisdiction and a slight departure from an earlier judgment, is coming less than 24 hours after the electoral body has appealed the nullification of parts of its election guidelines. Justice James Omotosho also held that the 2027 election timetable issued by INEC was valid and legally issued, stating time frame within which political parties are to hold their primaries and stating time frames for the submission of membership registers of political parties. Justice Omotosho made the declaration while delivering a judgment in a suit filed by the Social Democratic Party, the SDP, against INEC in the case marked FHC ABJCS 7/20/2026. All right, so INEC having, should I say, one up on this one, and well, most of the big political parties have, I think, followed the guidelines INEC set. Releasing of registers on due time. They're already holding, their primaries as well. The APC has. Also have the NDC to do, the PDP as well, already coming up with candidates for their party. So a lot of these big, parties already following through with the guidelines from INEC. Well, there were also, concerns that it was going to open a window for, individuals who contested and lost primaries in one party to jump, to another or move to another, to be able to contest for those who have not yet done their primaries. Because as we know, they are disgruntled individuals from different political parties when it comes to the primaries, and starting off with the APC. Individuals as well are still, grumbling about that. You had the likes of Ned Nwoko, Senator Ned Nwoko and co. We saw what happened in Lagos with Honorable Desmond Elliott. Different individuals, complaining about the process for the direct primaries as well. And I just begin to ask myself, are we really ready to improve when it comes to our democracy? If we're still going to be having issues of inflating numbers, of rigging, even direct primaries where you can see the people, standing and all, and you see the kind of counting, that was done. So tough one indeed. ADC as well, having issues with their own primaries, likes of Hayatuddin and Rotimi Amechi rejecting the results there. Hayatuddin even went further as putting out a statement on his X page talking about how he wasn't going to stand and observe, whatever results announcements were being made. I'm just trying to pick up the tweet there, trying to see if I can retrieve that one right now. But immediately going to his X page and making that statement. Okay, I will not be attending the announcement of the ADC presidential election results today. I am concerned by reports from across the country of widespread vote rigging, some of which I myself observed, and will therefore be taking advice on my next steps. All right, so maybe we'll be having some legal battles there within the ADC for the primaries. Well, only time will tell whether that will be the next step he'll take, and as well as Rotimi Amechi, both saying no, they are not. These primaries that was conducted really isn't a great one, but I think yet to get any official statement from Atiku Abubakar, David Mark and co. To see probably the way forward for the ADC. But looks like the ADC is going to be having some issues at the moment. And, they even still have one lingering with the whole faction issue with the ADC as well. Well, Peter will be on from the front pages this morning speaking about how he's speaking to candidates in the NDC that they should accept the primaries, and maybe they can pick up, and learn one or two from the lapses from other parties who have conducted their primaries and try to solidify theirs going into the primaries and see how they can, make things work from them for them. And we'll see what the ADC has to offer when it comes to their own primaries. So for the PDP, having an individual step down from one party, come to the other party, and probably not even do primaries and just get an automatic ticket, to contest for the governorship, position, is that probably based on his popularity? I don't know, in the state, maybe he wasn't that popular with his colleagues in the party he left, but it's also raising some eyebrows, for individuals who are also interested in contesting. I think that's in Gombe. So some individuals as well are voicing their own displeasure about that one. So a whole lot of, politicking going on at the moment. And I must say I was a bit surprised, about that decision, but must have put up a good, convincing argument to make sure that he gets that ticket for the PDP. That's talking about Pantami there. Well, the court as well, still in the news, ruling that former President Goodluck Jonathan can run when it comes to the 2027 elections. That's a very interesting one. And I hope it's not just a situation of people, just trying to egg him on to contest. I hope he's going to be, if he actually does come out to say, yes, he's really going to contest when it comes to the 2027 elections under the platform of the PDP, that yes, this are the ideas he's coming with. It's not just, some people are just pushing me, to be on the ballot contest because we want a strong candidate for the PDP. But he's coming with a whole lot of desires, a whole lot of energy and fight to turn things around when it comes to Nigeria. Things he wasn't able to do in the past, was he going to do different, going forward, if he comes out and declares that yes, 2027 is going to be running. But apart from that, it's been more of people speaking on his behalf here and there, that he's going to be there in 2027 and all. But is he saying the big picture? What can he offer Nigerians? That's very important, and it's not just about routine. I'm going to just be there, running on the platform of the PDP. Well, Salah Day, public holiday. President talking about how the dark parts, over lights coming. Well, yesterday, there were reports that the economy grew by 3%, 3.8, there about 3.9%. What does that also now translate in paper to the average Nigerian? Not just on statistics, not just figures of growth here and here in this sector, in the services sector. Industrialization, I think, had 19% of all. In the services, we had 26, 28% thereabouts. So it's not just that on paper. Also, how does it impact on the lives of the average Nigerian? Economists saying that if there was no growth, it would probably be worse than what we're experiencing now. Can it be better? People are buying cooking gas, 1,700 naira, 2,000 naira, petrol, 1,315. So everything is just, up and down. People can't even afford to buy RAM to celebrate with their families this period. 1 million. How many people can afford 1 million? How many people have 500,000 naira in their accounts? How many people have 1 million naira in their accounts? So how do we translate that? Those figures, all those statistics we see about growth in the sector, in the economy and all, fine and good, but we have to start translating that to how it affects the average Nigerian. Better purchasing power, better earnings, all of that needs to also turn around. And another key thing is how to improve in industrialization. More industries need to be built, more businesses need to be given the space to grow so that more people can be employed, work could be available, and we'll probably have, hopefully, more growth in the economy. So that's a very important one as well. And We just hope things look up and look alive for us as a nation. Well, that's it for the papers this morning. You can pick up a copy of any of the dailies this morning. There's a whole lot of them, from the Daily Independent to the Standard Times, Nigerian News Direct, Leadership Newspaper, Daily Sun, Blueprint, Daily Newscraft as well. And before I go, just to let the Borno State government that they need to be on, up and doing when it comes to that cholera outbreak there. 27 have died so far, and there's been over 2,715 cases recorded. That's a huge figure. So Borno State government needs to act fast. And I think this period, this rainy period as well, is another issue when it comes to, cholera, and also environments. People need to take cleaning their environment is very important. Okay, if you take one weekend or twice, do that as well. Clean your compound, gutters, and all of that. So we need the Borno State government to be on that situation as well. So we'll go on a short break. We'll come back with a bit of sports. Just stay with us.
Ray Power Sport.
All right, still Ray Power 100.5 FM. A little bit of sports this morning, and there's going to be a very big match later on today. It's going to be Crystal Palace against Rayo Vallecano. Yes, the Conference League final is going down today. It's coming after the Europa League final. Some people might say why. UEFA is still trying to give more, visibility to the Conference League. If it comes first, I don't think a lot of people will be watching it. But Crystal Palace against Rayo. For Crystal Palace, they've come a long way from winning the FA Cup. They've won the FA Cup. They won the League Cup, the Community Shield. Now they're in the Conference League final, so this is a very interesting one for them. If they can win it, they'll qualify for the Europa League. Same for Rayo. Rayo had a very twitchy league campaign, same as Crystal Palace, but they're in the finals. It was all set for them, and we'll see if Palace can do one. For them, their manager has experience on the continent. He's won the Europa League before with Frankfurt, so can he do the Conference League with Crystal Palace? Only time will tell. The match is at 8 p.m. later today, and the Super Eagles won a friendly game yesterday, Unity game, 2-0. So congratulations to them, and a good one as well. That's it for sports updates, and that's it for the papers. The name is Chuck, still the ultimate morning show on Ray Power 100.5 FM. Before we join our network studios, we'll be playing you great tunes on the show. Here is SARS and Benson. This one's called Back Outside. Good morning.